Hey there. Okay, so if you're a San Diego homeowner right now and you're standing in front of a washing machine that is just full of soaking wet clothes, take a deep breath. I know exactly how frustrating it is when your appliances decide to go on strike right in the middle of laundry day. But you're absolutely in the right place. Today, we're going to run through a quick, no-fluff explainer to solve this specific washing machine mystery, get your routine back on track, and honestly, save you from a ton of unnecessary stress and expenses.
You are probably dealing with this exact, incredibly infuriating symptom right this second. You load the machine, it fills up with water just fine, and it even drains without a single hitch. The tub might even be spinning, but that tall center post, it's completely dead. It's not moving your clothes back and forth at all, which means your heavily soiled laundry is really just sitting in a puddle of soapy water. It's not getting clean. It feels like a catastrophic, expensive failure, but I promise you, it's actually much simpler than it looks. All right, let's just dive right into our roadmap for today. We're going to cover the broken agitator mystery, the 4 usual suspects, how to diagnose it, local San Diego repair costs, and finally, deciding whether to DIY or call a pro.
Starting right off with Section 1, the broken agitator mystery.
First off, I want to give you a massive dose of reassurance here. Because your tub is still spinning during the spin cycle and the drain pump is actually clearing the water out, we know for an absolute fact that the heavy hitters, the really expensive parts, like your main drive motor and your electronic control board, they are working perfectly. The failure is completely isolated to the mechanical linkage that transfers the motor's power up to the agitator itself. So we're dealing with a localized mechanical disconnect here, not a dying machine. Just to give you a little bit of context on your specific setup, you have a classic agitator washer. Unlike those newer impeller models, the ones that use a low, cone-shaped plate to kind of gently tumble clothes, your machine relies on that tall center post to aggressively twist heavily soiled clothes back and forth through the water. It's a fantastic, really durable design that cleans fast. But because that post takes on so much torque, the parts connecting it to the motor are literally designed to take the brunt of the wear and tear. Which brings us to Section 2, the 4 usual suspects. All right, it is time to put on our detective hats. Our absolute #1 suspect is the agitator dogs. I know, it's kind of a funny name, but these are really just small plastic teeth, or sometimes they come in a cam kit, hidden right inside the base of your agitator. Their entire job in life is to grip a metal spline shaft and convert the motor's continuous spin into that back and forth twist. Over the years, because they're made of plastic and they handle really heavy loads of wet laundry, those teeth simply wear round, they smooth out. So instead of gripping that shaft, they just slip right past it. The motor turns, the shaft turns, but the agitator stays perfectly still. Now, if it isn't the dogs, it's usually one of these 3. First up, a broken or slipped drive belt. The belt might actually have enough grip to spin an empty drum, but just not enough torque to move a heavy wet load. Second is the motor coupler. If you have a direct drive washer, especially older Whirlpool or Kenmore models, there's this small plastic connector between the motor and transmission. It is literally designed to break to protect the transmission if the machine gets overloaded. And finally, the transmission itself might be stripped internally. This is definitely the least common suspect, but yeah, it's the priciest one to fix.
Moving on to Section 3, how to diagnose it.
Okay, so we know the suspects. Now let's empower you with some hands-on diagnostics, starting with a hand twist test. Please, before you do anything, absolutely make sure you unplug the washer entirely. We always put safety first. Open up the lid, reach on in, and grab the top of the agitator with both hands. Hold the metal tub steady with your hip or one of your arms, and just try to twist the agitator side to side. A healthy agitator, it's going to fight you. It'll resist your twist and sort of spring right back into place. But if your agitator dogs are worn out, it will twist loosely in your hands with almost no resistance at all. It honestly feels a bit like a stick in a socket that's just way too big for it. If it freely spins round and round in both directions without catching on anything, guess what? You have just diagnosed worn agitator dogs. Boom, case closed.
But what if it feels tight by hand but still won't move when the cycle runs? That's when we do the listen test. You'll need to carefully bypass the lid switch so the machine runs while it's open. Now, if you hear a clicking or sort of ratcheting sound under the agitator, your dogs are partially worn and they're just catching intermittently. If you hear a rhythmic slapping sound, that is your drive belt slipping. And if you hear total silence, but the tub still spins normally in the spin cycle, that points directly to a snapped motor coupler.
Let's move to Section 4, San Diego repair costs.
So once you know what's broken, you obviously need to know what it's going to cost. Go ahead and take a screenshot of these typical costs, which includes both parts and labor from local San Diego repair professionals. You'll notice that replacing the agitator dogs, the belt, or the coupler all land pretty comfortably between $120 and $250. Remember earlier when I said your motor was fine? A motor or main control board replacement is a $250 to $500 job. So unless your transmission is completely shot, you are looking at a highly affordable fix that is absolutely worth doing to save a machine that otherwise works great.
And here's another really great number to keep in mind: $89. That is the flat rate diagnostic fee charged by trusted professionals out here, like Repair Pro San Diego. And honestly, the best part? That $89 is entirely credited toward the repair once you approve the work. You aren't paying extra on top of the fix just to have a pro confirm what you might have already figured out with that hand twist test we talked about.
Finally, Section 5, DIY or call a pro.
So, should you grab your toolbox or call up a local expert? Well, if your hand twist test revealed worn agitator dogs, I have fantastic news for you. This is an incredibly reasonable DIY job for anyone who is even mildly handy. On most top-load washers, the agitator either lifts straight off or it just requires popping off a single cap and removing one bolt right at the top. The dog's kit itself is literally a snap-in part. No specialty tools required whatsoever. Just be sure to look up the replacement kit using your washer's exact model number, which you can usually find inside the lid, because these plastic cams, they are not interchangeable across brands. However, if your listen test points to a belt or motor coupler, we are officially entering the Pro Zone. Replacing these parts usually requires pulling the entire metal cabinet off the machine, or tipping a very heavy washer backwards to reach the motor underneath. And replacing a coupler often means unbolting and dropping the motor entirely. Let me be perfectly clear, it is absolutely not worth risking a cracked tub or a badly pinched hand over a $150 repair. If you aren't super comfortable working under a tipped appliance, just let a technician handle it.
So you are now armed with the exact diagnostic tests, the local San Diego pricing, and the mechanical knowledge to confidently make your next move. If you decide to let the experts handle it, pros like those at Repair Pro are just a quick call away. But it leaves you with a really critical question for your weekend. Is the satisfaction of fixing your own machine worth the grease on your hands? Or is your free time way more valuable than the cost of a local expert?